Once buzzing with orders, engines, and the footsteps of soldiers, these military bases now echo with silence. Forgotten by time, overtaken by rust and weeds, they stand as monuments to power, conflict, and abandonment. Each one holds secrets etched into concrete and steel. From Cold War outposts to disaster-struck compounds, these bases were abruptly left behind, sometimes overnight. So if you stood there, in a crumbling control room or deserted airstrip, what would you feel? Let's step behind the barbed wire and uncover 8 of the world's most mysterious, abandoned military bases. And the chilling stories they left behind. Camp Hero, Montauk, New York, USA. Imagine a place where the past is buried deep in the woods, surrounded by an eerie silence that speaks of secrets long hidden. Welcome to Camp Hero, located in Montauk, New York. This former U.S. Air Force base, operational from World War II until 1982, remains one of the most mysterious places in the United States. At first glance, you might just think it's another forgotten military site. But venture closer, and you'll find the remnants of a giant radar tower, standing tall and foreboding amidst the trees. This radar was no ordinary piece of technology. It's linked to one of the most bizarre conspiracy theories of the Cold War era, known as the Montauk Project. Some claim that this was the site of secret experiments, including mind control, time travel, and even the manipulation of reality itself. These rumors have fueled wild stories, making the site a popular destination for thrill-seekers, conspiracy enthusiasts, and those with a taste for the supernatural. It's easy to see why. The decaying infrastructure, the overgrown grounds, and the lingering sense that something isn't quite right create an atmosphere that's both captivating and unsettling. For many, Camp Hero is more than just a site of military history. It's a window into a world of mystery that continues to spark curiosity. Have you ever wondered what secrets lie behind the walls of abandoned military bases? Could this be the last known remnant of something much darker? The truth, perhaps, is waiting to be uncovered. Balaklava Submarine Base, Crimea, Ukraine. Tucked away on the rugged shores of Crimea, hidden deep inside a mountain, lies one of the most impressive and secretive military installations of the Cold War, the Balaklava Submarine Base. Built in the 1950s by the Soviet Union, this base was designed with one primary goal: to protect Soviet nuclear submarines from attack. Its unique feature? The entire facility is housed inside a mountain, with a network of tunnels, and an underwater channel that allowed submarines to enter and leave undetected by satellites or radar. The base was nearly impenetrable, constructed to withstand even the worst-case scenario, a direct nuclear strike. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, the base was abandoned and its valuable equipment was looted. The mountain, which once echoed with the sounds of military operations, now sits eerily silent. Today, the Balaklava Submarine Base has been turned into a naval museum, where visitors can explore its dark corridors and marvel at the remnants of Cold War technology. But the question lingers: what other secrets could still be hidden here, buried in the walls and tunnels? The base is a time capsule, preserving the spirit of an era defined by fear and secrecy. Could there be more to this place than meets the eye? With every step inside, you can almost hear the whispers of a forgotten world, where history and mystery intertwine in the shadows. Duga Radar, Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, Ukraine. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to stand in the heart of a place where history's shadows loom large, a place where technology once reigned supreme, only to fall into decay? The Duga Radar, located deep within the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, is one such place. Known infamously as the Russian woodpecker due to its distinctive rhythmic signal that interfered with radio broadcasts, the Duga Radar stands as an eerie monument to Cold War paranoia. This massive, over-the-horizon radar system was built by the Soviet Union in the 1970s to detect missile launches, a crucial part of their strategy during the arms race. Towering over the desolate landscape, its rusted, towering structures evoke a sense of awe and unease. But what makes the Duga Radar so fascinating isn't just its size, it's the legacy of secrecy and fear that surrounds it. After the Chernobyl disaster in 1986, the area around the radar became a ghost town, left abandoned by its creators. The radar was never used for its intended purpose, but its massive size and odd shape continue to haunt the landscape. Urban explorers and thrill-seekers venture into this forgotten place, drawn by its haunting beauty and the strange feeling that time has somehow stood still. And while the radar itself stands as a relic of the past, its presence reminds us of a time when the world was on the brink of destruction, constantly on edge, uncertain about the future. Today, as the forest slowly reclaims it, Duga Radar continues to be an enigmatic, otherworldly sight, one that questions what might have been and what still remains buried beneath the overgrown trees. Wolf's Lair, Masurian Woods, Poland. If walls could talk, the ruins of the Wolf's Lair would speak of betrayal, secrets, and a turning point in world history. Deep in the Masurian woods of Poland lies the former headquarters of Adolf Hitler during World War II, the Wolf's Lair. Built in 1940, this heavily fortified complex served as the epicenter of Nazi operations in Eastern Europe. Surrounded by dense forests, multiple layers of security, and designed with an almost paranoid obsession for protection, the Wolf's Lair was considered impenetrable. Yet it was here, on July 20, 1944, that one of the most dramatic moments in history occurred. An assassination attempt on Hitler's life, famously known as the July 20th plot. The attempt failed, but the tension that filled the air in the aftermath is still palpable today. The complex itself, once bustling with the command of the Nazi war machine, is now a series of abandoned bunkers and ruins. The remnants of walls, doors, and underground tunnels remain, each corner of the site soaked in history and mystery. The base, once a symbol of Nazi power, is now a relic of a past full of dark memories. But beyond its historical significance, the Wolf's Lair also serves as a reminder of the fragile line between power and vulnerability. With the end of the war, the site was abandoned, its secrets locked away within its walls, forgotten by most, but not by those who still seek to understand the depths of history. Today, it stands as a stark reminder of how history can be shaped in places like these, where the past continues to echo, and the weight of what happened still lingers in the trees surrounding it. For those brave enough to visit, the Wolf's Lair is a chilling step into the past, where every shadow seems to whisper secrets that were never meant to be heard. Camp Century, Greenland. Deep beneath the frozen expanse of Greenland, a forgotten military base rests under layers of ice, hidden from the world's view for decades. Camp Century, established in the 1950s by the U.S. Army, was a top-secret facility constructed to house nuclear missiles as part of the Cold War's icy standoff. Its location, deep in the Greenland ice sheet, was no accident. Designed to withstand the harsh Arctic environment, the base was meant to serve as a covert weaponry depot, with the missiles aimed squarely at the Soviet Union. However, its true purpose extended far beyond the simple logistics of military defense. The base was also a testing ground for Project Iceworm, an ambitious plan to construct a network of tunnels across Greenland to store nuclear weapons. The idea was simple, yet audacious: to bury the missiles beneath the ice, making them practically invisible to enemy radar. But the unforgiving environment and the shifting ice eventually sealed the fate of Camp Century. By the late 1960s, it became clear that the base's location was unsustainable, and it was abandoned in 1967. However, the secrets it held were never entirely forgotten. As the glaciers began to melt due to climate change, scientists recently discovered that remnants of the base, including its nuclear waste, remain buried deep beneath the ice. Now the abandoned tunnels serve as a chilling reminder of a tense, volatile era in history. Camp Century, frozen in time, asks us all to consider the delicate relationship between technology, war, and the environment. What happens when the Earth reclaims what was once buried for power? The ice may melt, but the secrets of the past remain frozen beneath its surface. RAF Folkingham, Lincolnshire, England. Tucked away in the English countryside where the wind whispers through the grass and the remnants of history silently fade into the horizon, lies the abandoned RAF Folkingham. Once a key site in the Royal Air Force's efforts during World War II, this airfield in Lincolnshire saw countless aircraft take off, bound for combat. Built in the early 1940s, RAF Folkingham served as a base for bombers, and during its peak, it was buzzing with military activity. The sounds of engines roaring, pilots preparing for flight, and ground crews scrambling to maintain the war effort were part of the daily routine. Yet, as the years went by and the war ended, the airfield slowly faded into obscurity. By the 1960s, it was no longer in use, and what remained was left to the elements. Over time, the area surrounding RAF Folkingham became overgrown with vegetation, and the once bustling site became a graveyard of military machinery. Today, the abandoned airfield is home to rusting remnants of tanks, amphibious trucks, and long-forgotten vehicles that were left behind when the site was decommissioned. These vehicles sit still, their wheels turned to stone, scattered across the runway like ghosts of a bygone era. There's something haunting about walking across the now deserted runway, imagining the flurry of activity that once took place there. For those who venture to visit, the airfield feels like a forgotten chapter in history, where the echoes of the past are only faint whispers in the wind. The juxtaposition of military machinery and the natural world reclaiming it makes RAF Folkingham a poignant and sometimes eerie reminder of the fleeting nature of time and the impermanence of human endeavors. Fort Ord, California, USA. Nestled on the picturesque Monterey Peninsula in California, Fort Ord was once the largest military training facility in North America. Spanning over 28,000 acres, this sprawling base was a training ground for soldiers during both World War II and the Cold War. For decades, Fort Ord echoed with the sounds of marching boots, military drills, and the hum of helicopters taking off. Its importance was unparalleled. Soldiers prepared here for battles across the globe. Yet, as the world shifted and the Cold War wound down, the base was closed in 1994, leaving behind a vast expanse of decaying military structures. Today, Fort Ord stands abandoned, its once bustling streets now silent, overtaken by nature. The barracks, which once housed thousands of soldiers, are crumbling, their windows shattered and their doors long since gone. Even the massive training fields where soldiers practiced maneuvers now sit empty, the only sound being the whispers of the wind through the tall grasses. Despite the eerie atmosphere, parts of the base have been repurposed, some areas transformed into public parks while others are used for housing. However, even as new developments take over, the remnants of its military past remain. Old tanks rust along forgotten roads, and unexploded ordnance still lurks beneath the surface, a silent reminder of the base's violent past. For those who wander through the abandoned streets, it's easy to imagine the history that unfolded here. Thousands of soldiers who once trained for war, now forgotten by the world. Yet, Fort Ord's haunting remains continue to attract those seeking a glimpse of the past, drawn by the ghostly presence of a military giant that time has left behind. Grafenwoehr Training Area, Bavaria, Germany. In the rolling hills of Bavaria, Germany, lies a military training area steeped in history, and still, in many ways, alive with the echoes of war. The Grafenwoehr Training Area, one of the oldest and largest U.S. Army training sites outside the United States, has been the site of countless military exercises since its establishment in 1910. Throughout the years, this vast expanse of land has seen its share of soldiers preparing for combat, from World War I through the Cold War and beyond. The area has long been a strategic hub for military operations where soldiers hone their skills for deployment worldwide. Yet, despite its ongoing use, parts of Grafenwoehr are now abandoned, a patchwork of dilapidated structures, rusting military vehicles, and forgotten artillery. While the area is still operational in certain parts, there are sections that have been left to decay, and they stand as haunting reminders of the past. Abandoned bunkers, training towers, and old tanks dot the landscape, standing like silent sentinels over the land. Visitors who venture into these abandoned parts of Grafenwoehr often feel the weight of history pressing down upon them. The once bustling training grounds are now eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustling of wind through the tall grass. As time passes, nature slowly reclaims the land. Vines crawl up walls and wildflowers bloom through cracks in the concrete as if trying to erase the scars of a bygone era. Yet, Grafenwoehr's past lingers, in the rusting metal, the empty buildings and the stories whispered on the wind. It's a place where history and nature collide, and where the ghosts of the past still linger, waiting for someone to remember. Thanks for joining me on this journey through some of the world's most fascinating abandoned military bases. Each one holds stories waiting to be discovered, and I hope this sparked your curiosity about the hidden history around us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Subscribe to DwellScape for more incredible explorations of unique places and stories. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell me which abandoned base intrigued you the most, or if you know any others worth exploring. See you in the next video.